Alistair Johnston, a Vancouver-born, Aurora, Ontario raised right back for Celtic. There goes Jonathan Davids. Nice turn, trying to slip in behind. It's defended tightly. Miller comes to help. Flicked up to Eustáquio. Back into midfield, Kone. Kone's pass. I don't know that he saw Haniev with the referee standing in front of him. Samaradov spins and crosses. Nasrulayev. Hamro-Bakov. Miller lunges into the tackle, does really well. 3 goals and 5 assists in the championship this season with Hull City. He's available to the left of Kone, bringing Canada forwards. It is Miller. Bounces off Hosanov. Toronto FC's Richie Larea. Marco Ortiz has brought play to a stop, collects the ball as it's Maxime Crépeau checking on Aziz Haniev. Plays his domestic football, the 28-year-old, in the United Arab Emirates. Cannavaro understands what it means to play in a FIFA World Cup. 1998. 16th World Cup and held in France. He was able to feature for the Italian national team. And the stretcher was getting prepared. He will be helped off the field of play, and you can see the signal right away from the physio, especially in a friendly this close to the start of the tournament, the finals. Doesn't look like they're going to risk Haniev any further. The Uzbek staff don't waste much time to select Abbasbek Feyzulayev. Step from Derek Cornelius, Canada putting the pressure on. Nematov out of his box. Alistair Johnston into a tackle with Shukurov. Ismail Kone with a somersault. Uzbekistan a little overeager. Now back to 11v11. He plays with his captain in Istanbul with Bushak Shahir. 22-year-old attacking midfielder, former CSK Moscow player. July of last year, so coming up on a year that he signed a 5-year contract in Turkey. Richie Larea surrounded by 3 white shirts. He was ultimately caught a little late. And Richie Larea, as he often does, is becoming a thorn in the side of the Uzbeks, who letting him know he was hoping to start a little early. They've been training with it, of course, but this is our chance to see the Trianda ball in practice in a match environment. Anything other than the infamous Jabulani doesn't have that much of an impact on the World Cup finals, quite like that one did in 2010. Reyes in a race. He doesn't lose many of those. Sefiev pulls the Canadian left back down, deposited down the left wing. Kyle Larin races after it. It is swept back to Nematov just in the nick of time. Cornelius, he slips. Down goes the Canadian center back again. He's bailed out by a foul from the substitutes. Canadians fortunate that those moments have yet to cost them. Buchanan crunched. Nasrullayev was late. They go quick. Eustaquio in the box, swatted down, trying to catch the Central Asians off guard, and it nearly turned into the opening goal. Any cross, any shot in the wet like this can lead to problems. Now the Canadian captain over to the corner flag. Buchanan, Johnston closest to the keeper. Cornelius looking for the header. First and second contact from the AFC nation. Eustaquio slides. And this could be something for Uzbekistan. 3v1 as the captain gets his chance at redemption. Great stuff from Crepeau. The Orlando City keeper diving left and getting just enough on the strike. At least it was on target this time. If you have paid any amount of attention to the Canadian media in the lead up to this tournament, one of the biggest questions, other than who's going to play in the outfield in terms of injuries and fitness, who's going to be the keeper? Crepeau has 45 minutes to audition for Jesse Marsh, his first proper test, and he passes. Outswinging corner from the substitute. Eustaquio at the near post gets underneath it. Headed back in. Is that off? It's close. Down goes the captain. Flag was raised at the end. "44 times he has scored for his country in what is his 91st cap today, Eldor Shomurodov. Certainly doesn't look any less innocent on the replay. The meteorologists in Edmonton were calling for up to 35 millimeters of rain over the 24 hours leading up to this game. Not quite an inch and a half for our friends over at Fox tonight. It's wet, it's damp, to say the least. Johnston's toss skips off the legs of Ashermatov. Blocked by Kone. Sure he had much to do about it. It was just booted directly at his body. 29th minute from Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, provincial capital of Alberta here in Western Canada. Kyle Larin not quite able to receive the pass from Johnston down the middle. Jesse Marsh, the Canadian coach, has been calling for a red out. Wants to see a lot of red and white in the stands. I'm not sure there are enough red rain ponchos in the city of Edmonton to adhere to the coach's dress code for this match. Larin, he shoots! Looked harmless enough, but it's still got Namathov to dive. Just the one prep touch, and from about 24, Kyle Larin in search of goal number 31 for the Maple Leaf. Step from Moise Bombito. Kone trying to get free from Shukurov. Feels like they must be upwards of a dozen fouls now, Uzbekistan. So in any other circumstance, we would say this is very odd. This is part of the match plan, 30th minute, and some predetermined substitutions being prepared by Canada. Richie Larea, one of the players on a half-hour minutes restriction. Nico Segur will come in for him. Should likely see Alistair Johnston move from the right back to the left back. Luc de Fougerolles also standing by for the next stoppage. Buchanan. Forearm shove on Ashermatov. Into touch, and fourth official is ready with his substitution boards. So Bombito getting his first action back in Canadian colors. He certainly had a dramatic moment. Losing his footing, pardon me, going down and sending Uzbekistan on a break. Richie Larea also comes out as we expected him to do in the 32nd minutes. For de Fougerolles, cap 12. Kyle Larin, 3v2 for Canada. Miller joins. Excellent sliding tackle from Hosanov. Now it's a 4v2. David's cross. Liam Miller runs back post. Flung himself at the ball. Might have been a yard, two at the most, away from making contact. Nice little hurdle from the Canadian captain, Eustachio, and then David knew where he wanted to put it.
Substitution for Canada, number 23, Nico Segur, entering the match for number 22, Richie Larea.
Luc de Fougerolles of the Fulham system. Spent the last season on loan in Belgium. We'll line up to the right of Derek Cornelius, and at least for now we're seeing Segur play as the left back. Johnston stays on the right side. He's done very well through these first 32 minutes. Segur can play as a fullback or defensive midfielder. Dual national with Croatia, where he plays for Hajduk Split. Good ball, lost for a moment. Buchanan, with a little more readiness, might have had a chance to toe poke it past the keeper. Canada holding 57% possession, each nation with 1 shot on target from 2 attempts. Kone, excellent move. He's caught at the last moment. Referee says play on. Kone's not really arguing. And that's why Manchester City are so excited about that young player. Abdulkadir Hosanov. Perfectly timed. That is textbook. Some work to do for the Canadian sub Segur. Looking for the corner off Cornelius. It will be a throw in beside the corner flag. Chirp of the whistle reminding Uzbekistan of the pace of play rules. You'll hear those little chirps for goal kicks and throw-ins alike. It means the player who's got the ball has 5 seconds to put it in play, otherwise they lose possession. The Fougereau steps forward. Johnston, hardly any contact, and that's what the referee is saying as well. Buchanan was caught. He went sliding down to the grass. It's Miller. Kone went sliding. Eustakio also chasing. Zulayev starting this whole sequence off. Eustakio back into position. Gets his tackle on time this time. Nasrulayev, his cross. Game of Plinko right now at the Canadian defenders' heads. From the left side to the right side of attack in the 37th minute. Canadian supporters doing their best to encourage their side through to the halftime break. Won't be much for Maxime Crépeau this time around. He and his biggest challenger for the starting position for Canada. They both play in Florida now this season in Major League Soccer. Dane St. Clair, who we expect to see in the second half, of course, with the reigning MLS Cup champions Inter Miami. Liam Miller makes a great run for Kyle Aaron. flicked up at the last moment. It took Abdullayev going to ground to break up the cross. Otherwise, it's surely 1-0 for Canada. Seeger with a great start to the build with that dish out the left wing. Miller trying to connect with Kyle Laird, who made the right run. It's a good sequence for Canada. Eustachio, another outswinger. Cornelius felt it off his thigh. Problem was he didn't see it. And then Miller with a crunching tackle. He will join the referee's notebook as the first Canadian shown a yellow card, and then a little extras, where we just see Abdulkadir Hosanov and Liam Miller squaring off against each other in the Premier League 1 season from now. No love lost by the looks of it there.
A yellow card issues to number 11, Liam Miller from Team Canada.
Jesse Marsh has been mostly fairly reserved in the dugouts for these first 40 minutes. There goes Miller. Down goes the right back. Miller's into the box, makes another move. He's going to turn and shoot. His initial instinct had been to pass. He didn't think it was on, and then he had basically run out of time. Tajon Buchanan. With Villarreal in La Liga. Last stop, the Canadian winger, and out for a goal kick with less than 4 minutes from first half stoppage time. Fougerolles finally turns and makes a move. It's off of Shukurov and out for a Canadian throw. You know the World Cup is near with the amount of friendlies we're seeing. Just as the calendar flips over to May. Derek Cornelius, might he become the 4th player booked? Yes, says the referee. Just got his timing all wrong.
A yellow card has been issued to number 13, Derek Cornelius from Team Canada.
Free kick from the Uzbeks. Good ball. Header save. Maxime Crépeau. Well, if you're trying to prove to your gaffer that the glove should be yours at the World Cup finals, saves like that will absolutely do the trick. Whether or not that goal would have stood irrelevant to the save that Maxime Crépeau just made. Left-hand larceny from the Canadian. Might be the last save he makes today, Maxime Crépeau. See how well Canada are able to manage the last minutes of this first half. It has not been a great start to life in Orlando for Crépeau, taking 43 goals in his first 14 matches with Orlando City. His goals against per 90 is at 3.27 as well, with just a 60% save percentage. Ball rolls into touch. It will be Stefan Eustáquio. Likes to hand the ball off to Nico Segur instead. I'm not sure how much Jesse Marsh will have learned from this first 45. We'll see at least 2 more minutes before the halftime whistles are blown. Can Canada give the waterlogged supporters something to cheer about and talk about at the halftime break? Miller, nice change of direction. Eustáquio. Jonathan David racing after the ball. Looked like he decided not to try to get a touch. He thought it was last coming off of the Uzbekistan defender. Jesse Marsh, Stefan Eustáquio, all saying the same things. Nematov's restarts. Segur into the back of the lone substitute for Uzbekistan in the first half, Abbasbek Feyzulayev. Buchanan, Johnston, nice first touch, return to Buchanan. Buchanan's cross, couldn't get underneath Hosanov. Canada had the Uzbeks pinned. Everyone other than Eldor Shomurodov back defending. It was a 9-1 formation for a moment there. Buchanan. Tajon Buchanan gets around the defender, lifts it high, swatted down and swallowed up by Nematov, and that should be it for the half. Scoreless 45 minutes from rainy Edmonton, Alberta. This international friendly is scoreless at the break, thanks in large parts to the Canadian goalkeeper Maxime Crépeau. Made a great stop. Believe it would have been offside anyways, but it was as close as we came to a goal. The Uzbeks offered Canada some troubles, but after 45, it is Canada 0, Uzbekistan 0 from Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton.
It takes resilience to perform at the highest level.
One simple but brilliant trick to get 100 milligram
10 underneath Tenny Oluwaseyi. And that should just about cover it off. Foul against Oluwaseyi. Teammates with Tejan Buchanan and Villarreal.
Substitution for Team Canada.
Well, the public address announcer has a bottle of water with him right now.
For number 25, Nathan Saliba.
Confirmation also coming under the score bug in the top left corner. Who's in, who's out? Cap 23 today for Mathieu Choignier's little brother David, captaining the new Canadian Premier League side FC Super du Québec. David out for Segur. Nico Segur. Cross intended for Oluwaseyi. Nice hustle from Saliba. A little excited Saliba had been. Saliba cap 14 today. Plays for Anderlecht in the Belgian Pro League.
Substitution for Canada Soccer, number 24, Ron David, entering the match for number 11, Liam Miller. Substitution for Canada Soccer, number 12,
Shermatov.
Entering the match for number 9, Al Aaron.
Odile Hamrobeikov wearing shirt number 9. You don't usually see that number playing at the defensive midfield position. 3-4-2-1 or a 5-4-1, depending on the phase of the game. For Uzbekistan today, Canada have struggled to really break down this defensive block. That is not a new phenomenon for Jesse Marsh's side. David's advantage being played for Canada as he was nearly hauled down to the grass. Couldn't complete his pass for Tenny Oluwaseyi. Hamrobeikov, Abdullayev, and the keeper Neymatov. Captained by the captain Shamaradov, right along the touchline. Poked by Osorio. Captaining Canada in the second half, captaining Toronto FC in Major League Soccer. Uzbekistan quarterfinalists of the 2023 AFC Asian Cup, hosted and won by Qatar, will be in Canada's group of the upcoming World Cup.
Ready? Ready? Hey, ready?
Shermatov. Sky is starting to open up just a little bit more. Not that it's ever really stopped in Edmonton over the last 24 to 36 hours. DeFougerolles, center back from Fulham, a head off the knee of Nasrullayev. Uzbekistan hosting a group of 4 at the FIFA series back in March. They had matches against Venezuela and Gabon. So Trinidad and Tobago in their group, though they did not face off against the other CONCACAF sides. Those matches being hosted in the Uzbek capital, Tashkent. And to just north of 3 million people in Central Asia, the largest cities in Central Asia. Guided inside. A delicate little passing sequence this from the Uzbeks. Over the head of Saliba to Fougerolles in a battle. Help from Choigneur. Bit of chaos ball right now, slipping and sliding. No nation really able to settle and possess. Nasrulayev. Runov made a step over, but he hadn't controlled the ball. Jaden Nelson, former Vancouver Whitecap. To the outside of the center back and goes back and retrieves it himself. His cross in towards David. Rescue header from Sefiev, the substitute, and out for a Canadian corner. Third corner for Canada in this match, first of the second half. Sending a lot of red shirts into the 6-yard goal area. 6 reds, in fact. It's a dozen players directly in front of the keeper. Dropped into the 6, punched down. A control and a half clearance. Jaden Nelson able to nod that forward. Segur. Phase 2 for the Canadians, still with a lot lined up just outside the box. David. Taniela O'Shea shoots. This is everything. Referee points for a goal kick. Nelson getting an explanation from Marco Ortiz, our match referee. Why there was no foul on the play. You get once again, says the referee, this time to Zulayev.